So, I the other day I posted on my Instagram story asking if I did a poll if y'all want to hear about a messy story I have for y'all. And because y'all, I don't look for mess. I really don't. It just little phrases. Okay, little phrases. At times, there are times when you know I'm looking for mess and I'm bored and I'm doing stuff that I have no business doing, which I own. Okay. I recently was in a relationship with a couple that I'm just call them the Jays. Basically, I it didn't work out. They just were trying to change me and they didn't want me to have friends. They didn't want me to have a life outside of them. It was just too much. Yeah, that's what happened. They I was brought in as a plaything to help fix a relationship that had problems, which was really messed up. And yeah, that's what happened. They um so I'm calling them the J's because both of their names start with a J. So J number one, okay. This is this is what's weird. Okay, so we I went with him to the store like a couple times and he would be saying, "Oh my God, this guy hit me, blah blah blah," and I'd be like, "I was right there, the dude didn't hit on you, but okay." Which I was like, "Okay, that's weird." The fact that he's lying, okay, about little things. Second thing, okay, I have an ex that they that J1 was telling me that supposedly reached out to J1's aunt and his sister on Messenger wanting to get info about him. And J1, you know, never showed me proof or screenshots or anything. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, no. I, because that ex of mine, I was just like, he's a lot of things, but he, no. And I felt bad. I apologized to him. I was like, no, you were not. And it was weird because the Jays, they didn't like any of my friends. Let me phrase that. A lot of my friends, they didn't really care for. Like, I had some friends they were friends with, but I questioned that shit because I thought it was weird. Like, I went to a New Year's Eve party and Jalen went with me. And I thought it was weird because, yo, like, what? I wanted to go hang out with my friends, but okay. And like I said, J1 got invited to he had a friend that's having a New Year's Eve party. Basically, yeah, they, like I said, they were controlling. They had financial issues, which I didn't know about, which I shocked the hell out of me. Yeah, they were a couple that's never on the same page at all. And like I said, I was brought in as a plaything for both of them, which is really effed up and crazy. And yeah, like I said, I learned from the only thing I learned from that situation was like they would always be like, if you wanna complain about something, blah blah blah, basically that if you want to change something about your life, do it. Don't keep bitching and complaining. But yeah, that's what happened. It was messy. Like I said, they didn't like my friends. They were trying to morph me into somebody I was not. They wanted, y'all, am I kidding? After a month of us dating, they were talking to me about, they wanted me to move in with them. And I'm just like, oh no, they were talking about January. Actually, no, it's January. Oh, yeah. And I was like, no. And then it went from January to, was it January or February? I was one of the two. And then I told them, I was like, no, it had to be like October because no. Like I said, they wanted me to get my moped license. They wanted me to get a moped, which is crazy because what the hell? And like, they live in Granbury. So I'm just like, why would I? Like I said, okay, like I said, they wanted to help me, so they said, but no, they wanted to control me. I, yeah, yeah, but like I said, I was hurt. They, they did some fucked up. They, you know, this, this something really fucked up. Also, that they wanted. All I'm gonna say was they were sneaky. They did a really sneaky thing, which they had no business doing, which it was brought to my attention, and it just confirmed that they're not good people. They're not, and they lie a lot. And like I said, I was like, I'm not gonna rush into living with them. No, it just, I don't know, like I said, I learned from it. You know what? You can't rush into stuff, and one thing I did, another thing I took was that I left a lot of my shit over there at their place, and they still have my neck pillow. I still have my Fifth Harmony concert shirt, and they still have my blanket. Oh, and they still have my hat from my job. So I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm still not happy with it. But like I said, I learned, you know what, that I need to be careful where I leave my stuff at, you know. Yeah. But like I said, I hope the Jays, you know, get their happiness or whatever they're looking for. But no, don't bring someone into y'all's relationship just to spice it up because y'all are having issues. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to be on the same page, whatever. Like I said, and what's crazy is just like, yeah, we just didn't have a lot in common. Like me and J1, we had a lot of the same shit, in common. But JT, not so much. All he wanted to do was watch anime and play video games all the time. And yeah, he liked a lot of like y'all. I haven't. This movie is called Repo Man, and As Long as Hell. And I watched it, and with because it was J2 one of his favorite movies, and I watched it, and J1 fell asleep, and I mainly watched it because Paris Hilton was in it. Like that's it. I was like, what? Like I said, I've I reflect on the whole situation. Like I said, I I just hope that both of them grow up and see that lying on people is not okay and doing sneaky stuff is not okay. And you know, yeah, this thing. It was a lesson. They were a lesson I learned. Yeah. And also, not everybody has your best interest. They didn't have my best interest at all. They really didn't. That's the thing. It's like I'm reflecting. I'm getting older. And like y'all, I'm in my mid-30s. Like both the Jays were older than me, and then it's weird because they had a big stink. They had a big stick up their ass about Oakland and about Dallas. And they want to go to the gay scene. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it was just no. And J1 was just really clingy and kind of annoying. Like he would call me when he would be heading home, blah blah blah, and he'd want me to keep him company the whole time on the phone. It was like, dude, I was like, I'm working, blah blah blah. Yeah. But like I said, lesson learned. That was my story time of dating the Jays, and a mess it was. Yeah, like I said, they were not they didn't have my best interest at all. They didn't. But it is what it is. A lot of times you can't tell when people don't have your best interest until you're not dealing with the bullshit no more. But like I said, moving forward, when people want to tell me stuff about people, messages, I'm like, okay, well, show me a message. Show me messages. Show me, yeah. Don't, no. Like I said. But that's what I learned from it. But yep, another lesson I learned.